What's the nature of the device they detonated?
Data indicates it may have been a plutonium.
I was lucky enough to see Oppenheimer on Liberation Day, which is when it opened here in Korea. And having watched this movie only just a week ago on Liberation Day, I totally understand why Korea waited to release this movie about bombing Japan. The movie Oppenheimer, we have to, of course, as always, look at and consider story, craft, and its canon worthiness. Does it belong in the American film canon? And so I'm excited to get into that with you now.
가장 큰 동기가 무엇인지 여쭙고 싶습니다.
I grew up in a time in the United Kingdom of great fear of nuclear weapons. And so his story was always one that had intrigued me. I've always been drawn to films with protagonists who are complicated, who have very human flaws, and are put into ambiguous and complex situations.
The story of Oppenheimer is divided into two parts. Like when you go to the movie theater, it'll say Fission, #1, and Fusion. Fusion is in black and white. It's the one with Iron Man largely in it. And it's basically the story of one man first separated in himself and then reconciling himself with the decisions he's made. That's how I interpreted the story. It's the most cinematic documentary of Oppenheimer you're ever going to watch. And it is the length of two movies. Movie 1 is Fission, how Oppenheimer became Oppenheimer, and movie 2 is Fusion, how he accepted that he is the father of the atomic bomb. That's my diagnosis. That's my film essay. I'm just very curious how you do the whole rice and Kim thing. Like, I'm a pincher most of the time. I like to pinch my rice, but sometimes I'm a sticker, you know? Just take a little rice to it, stick it on there. I think the other thing that we really can't get over is how big actors had limited screen time. Because everyone in the life of Oppenheimer during the Manhattan Project is significant. And the best way to show that in a film really quickly and efficiently is to cast big name stars. Like, we recognize and we remember and we're looking for those people throughout the film once he introduces them. And there are like 10 of them, and small roles, limited screen time, but we remember them. You know, you got Fitz from Scandal. I don't really know what he was in there for, but I remember him. The way that this story was shot, for it to be shot on 70 millimeter, for close-ups and for like the big landscape shots, only Christopher Nolan could have got away with that, and it was an effective way, I think, to tell the story. He plays with aspect ratio. Did you catch that? Why is tofu your favorite jjigae? I love it because it's soft. I guess on the subject of like aspect ratio and playing with the camera and what size you're going to use and all of that, we might as well talk about the craft that went into making this movie. Casting is a craft. Like that, I already spoke to how wonderful the cast is that makes you pay attention to the story and keep up with everybody. But the other aspect of this, the craft of this movie, was just how well the sound design was done. Ludwig Göransson, who did Black Panther, who did a Childish Gambino record, talented. Because of his score, we can follow the tension of this movie, which is especially important because it helped us follow the movie and to create tension that would have otherwise been lost in kind of, I don't know, spotty dialogue. The delivery, I'm pretty sure, was amazing, but it was just hard to hear it at some points. And I was like, is Mama losing her hearing? But, you know, I saw it in 2D and in IMAX, and it was like that in both situations. And people have said that this is a problem with Nolan's latest films, is that the dialogue, you kind of lose it. But thanks to Ludwig, we on a first name basis, I mean, we were still able to get that tension and that feeling. So great sound design when it comes to craft. I think I need some more rice. So when we discuss canon worthiness, I mean, Christopher Nolan definitely belongs in the American film canon. That's not a question. So the question is, which Christopher Nolan film belongs in the canon? We don't need to put them all in there. You know, I don't think we need all of them. And I'm wondering if Oppenheimer would be the one, if I had to choose one Christopher Nolan film that goes in the American film canon for future generations to look upon American cinema and to learn. I don't think it would be Oppenheimer. He does a wonderful job of telling a story in the structure that I feel like he designed. That's like almost a paperclip. And the movie starts here and it has this parallel timeline. So I feel like we deserve to see that in the canon, but maybe it's not best done in Oppenheimer. Like Inception is done really well. Even Interstellar is done really well. One Nolan film in the canon is necessary. Oppenheimer might not be that film. Might not be. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's not.